Hey, there we are. Wow, it did it with the first try tonight, which is good. That is a very good thing. Let me just, it's adjusted okay. I just want to make sure the lighting is okay. How's everyone tonight? I hope everybody is doing well. So we're going to talk about, is there any hope for Hong Kong? Okay, so we will get into that topic in just a minute. So we'll jump into that, and I'm going to give you my opinion. I would like to hear what your guys' opinion is, and we'll kind of go from there, okay? But before we get started, I'd just like to remind everybody this is a very family-friendly oriented channel, so please keep the chat decent and clean. No racism, anything like that. Please just be decent to each other, be kind, and keep it family-friendly. If you don't, I have my awesome moderators. They will boot you out of here, so we're not gonna, hopefully we won't have to do any of that, okay? So anyway, we'll just give this another minute here again. Very, very rainy day here today at the homestead. Still raining right now. The forecast coming up here is a lot of rain over the next week or so. I think it's like raining 5 days out of the 7. So I did take the puppies out today, and I put a pallet in front of the doorway and put them in there while we were working on other stuff, and they were very content. So there's some stuff that I want to reinforce in that, and I'll get to that when I get a non-rainy day. But anyway, so let's get into topic. Let's talk about the topic, okay? Is there any hope for Hong Kong? Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't think that there really is, because Hong Kong was given back to China. And, that 99-year lease was up, and they went back under Chinese rule. I believe it's a matter of time before China decides to put its foot down and say enough is enough. The worst violence that has happened yet happened yesterday. An 18-year-old was actually shot in the left, I believe it was the left side of the chest. 6 live rounds were fired, okay? So first of all, I want to tell you what, and I want you to put yourself in the position of the riot police for a moment as we talk about this. I want you to put yourself in their position. First of all, people were told not to go out and protest, which, I'm sure a lot of Americans would just do exactly what they were told not. Okay, but they were told not to go out and protest. Over 100,000 people were out on the streets protesting, is what the numbers, that's what they're saying, okay? These protesters are throwing objects and stuff like that at the riot police. Now, you got to understand, they're greatly outnumbered, number one. They're trying to keep the peace. They've been pretty much told not to use deadly force up to this point. They've showed a lot of restraint, in my opinion, okay? I'm just, and maybe they, to a point, agree with what the protesters are protesting about, but they're showing a great deal of restraint, is what Kevin H said, I saw the video. He was hitting the cop with a sizable club, then the cop shot him. Okay, well, you know what, and that's the whole thing. I mean, it's like it comes to a point, when is enough enough? And obviously, that's that point. Now, yesterday with these protests, you had 180 people were arrested. You had more than 24 cops were injured due to this melee that happened over there. And unfortunately, you're going to always get an element of people that are not going out just to protest. They're going out to try to loot, to cause unrest, to cause chaos. There's always going to be that element. I don't care if you have 100,000 people. If you have 100 out of 100,000 that are looking to cause mayhem, a lot of times people get caught up in that crowd mentality, and they will jump right in there with that as well. Unless somebody steps in, and when I say somebody, I mean either the United States, the UK, somebody like that. There's really not going to be a lot of hope for Hong Kong, to be honest. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't feel that we're going to step in. I don't think that the UK is going to step in. They don't want that aggravation with China, because it is Chinese territory now. It is not, that would be like somebody coming over here and saying, like Puerto Rico, okay? Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. And it would be like some other country going over there and saying, well, we're coming in and we're going to help Puerto Rico because we don't think you're doing the right thing by Puerto Rico. We would not tolerate that. We would not stand for it. So that's the example that I'm going to use. China's not going to tolerate somebody coming in there and interfering with what they're doing over there. So to this point, I will honestly say I think China has shown a tremendous amount of restraint. I know that Hong Kong has a certain amount of a leeway that they've given them until they finally bring them into the fold 100%. But, it's a tricky situation. It's a tough situation. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's like I feel like it's not a situation that any of us, as far as like the United States or the UK or anybody else, should really get involved with that. Because if we did, you want to talk about going to war. China would not be the one, folks, that we want to go to war with. I'm going to tell you right now, they are not the one. So, unfortunately, and the people in Hong Kong have said, we can't do this alone. There's a lot of people that have said they want independence, but they said that they can't do it alone, which they're 100% right. They can't. But the thing is, how many of those people truly want the independence and how many of them are okay with China being in charge? You got to understand, there's Chinese troops over there right now already. There are Chinese troops over in Hong Kong. So if they decide to put their foot down, they're going to put their foot down, and that's going to be the end of that. So, just something to think about. So, something like 50,000 now, Kevin H. said. Yeah, I know that they got a good amount of troops over there. And you're talking about an island with, about 8 million people? And so, if you're talking, hey, Al Gibson, the young folks of Hong Kong have not grown up under China rule and are going to hit a brick wall with China leaders very soon. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for that donation too, by the way. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. China's going to take so much. And like I said, they've shown a tremendous, in my opinion, and like I said, I'm giving you guys my opinion. Everybody's entitled to think what they want, but I think China has showed a tremendous amount of restraint. You got to understand, these demonstrations and stuff have been going on for about 4 months. So don't eat all that applesauce, Bob, okay? All right. We opened up a jar of applesauce, and if I leave it to Eddie, he will eat the whole jar. So I would like to actually have some of it myself. So, but anyway, but yeah, it's the young people are standing up there saying that they don't want to be under Chinese rule, but unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that they can do about it. China just celebrated 70 years of communist rule, so they just had that celebration, and sounds like my dad and the bacon. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but it's it's just it's an unfortunate situation, But like I said, our hands are absolutely tied in that situation. We need to stay out of it. We got enough other stuff. We got enough of our fingers and enough other pies around the world that we need to focus on those type of situations. MADO killed 20 million of the middle class. Oh, Mao, the leader. Yeah, they've stopped people. I mean, if you guys remember Tiananmen Square, when they were trying to uprise over there, and China stopped them. China stopped them. They were not going to allow it. And unfortunately, you got to remember too here, guys. These people that are getting arrested, are they getting back out? I want you to think about that too. Are they now on a list of dissidents, of people that are, and you got to understand, a lot of times young kids, and when I say young kids, I'm talking about like people under 25 years old, realistically, they are very passionate about what they believe in. Okay. And they feel very strongly about what they believe in, and they think that they're doing the right thing a lot of times, but a lot of times they're causing their own grief down the road. So it's 50 weeks of yellow vest in France, media silent. Good point, Peter. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, they've been protesting over there straight, as well, just continuing to protest. And and I'll tell you what, France is not the country, realistically, that you don't want to listen to the people because they will rise up. They've done it how many times throughout history and taken down the monarchy or the king or whatever government is in charge. They've taken it over. It's happened in France over and over and over again. So, media is conveniently silent about a lot of things, Kevin H. said. You are absolutely right about that, But, they definitely, like I said, it's an interesting situation to watch, but I don't see a win situation for the people of Hong Kong that want change. It's not going to happen. Worldwide protests on the rise, coming to a neighborhood near you, JJ Big said. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are tired of a lot of stuff. I'm going to tell you what, if you want to look at, okay, so here's an example of something like now, the stock market today was down almost 500 points today. And, you look at the economic situation in the United States, it's not good. Economically, we are not in good shape right now. And a lot of people are worried. So, my mom asked me, okay, so my mom and I were talking the other day, and she said to me, what do you think I should do? I have a certain amount of money that I have in the bank, and she doesn't have a lot of money. Okay. And what I said to her was, I would not keep money in the bank. I keep enough to pay my bills, to cover my bills that I have to pay, that I pay online. That's what I leave in the bank. When I, get my money, I take it out immediately. I do not leave money in the bank, because if they close on a Friday, and this would not shock me if it happened, guys, close on a Friday, all of a sudden over the weekend, you can't get your money. And then on Monday, everything becomes insolvent and there is no money. You're going to wake up to a nightmare on that Monday if that's the case. And it would not shock me at all. And if you don't have money to work with, and again, at that point, what good is paper money, realistically? I've talked about it, guys, a lot, right steadily, right along, how important I think it is to have commodities, to have things that are tangible, that you can use for barter. I think that's really, really, really important, okay? Because we just never know. You never know what is going to happen. And so, being ready for those type of situations, all the money in the bank is not going to do you any good in that type of a situation. It's not, because you're not going to be able to get at it. You're not going to be able to use it for anything, And so, now, should you take all your money out of everything? No, I'm not saying that, because it's like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm telling you to take all your money out. But if you want to have cash on hand, I think it's important to have cash on hand. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you have, like a savings account. Savings accounts aren't paying squat anyway, realistically. The savings there is not, it's not a good amount of interest on the savings account anyway. Having that money to be able to use it in that emergency situation, I'm telling you right now, and it could absolutely easily happen that way, where on a Friday, everything is fine, everything's wonderful. You wake up Saturday morning, the ATMs are down, we got a temporary problem, we're working on it, but it's going to be countrywide, and then Monday, the banks don't open. So don't be shocked if something like that happens. We go into that kind of a crisis, and again, I want you to think about something, guys. 48% of the people in this country receive some form of assistance. Now, a large portion of them are retirees that have paid into Social Security their whole lives, have paid that money, and so now they're getting their Social Security checks. The baby boomer generation, every year we got a ton of more people retiring. We don't have the new people coming in to fill those voids. The birth rates are down. The birth rates are down in this country. So it's like there's not enough people replacing the ones coming off the payrolls and that are retiring. And so there's going to be an issue. I see that coming. So when it's saying 48%, that's part of that 48% are your retirees that work their whole lives. They're already injecting tons of money into the banks now to keep them afloat. JJ Biggs just said that. Right. And I did a video on that, and I was talking about that. It's the same type of thing that they were doing before in 2008, just before all the crashes of everything happened then. And you look what happened at that point. I mean, it was a bad situation for a lot of people. So, it's just pumped 65 billion in fact, Kevin H just said. Yeah, it's like on a daily basis now. They're dumping a tremendous amount of money, into the banking system to try to keep it afloat. And, you keep printing money like that, what's it worth realistically? I mean, in the long run, the worth of that is not going to be worth squat. So think about that, guys. I mean, it's really something to think about. Being prepared and being ready for those type of situations is very, very important. I can't stress that enough. I really, truly can't, because you just never know. You just absolutely never know. So, well, I haven't asked for one thumbs up yet, so let me ask for one now. I see we're at like 308 people. If you haven't shot me a thumbs up yet, if you would do that, I would definitely would appreciate that. So, what I want to I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm going to mention it real quick. Let's see. Ryan Jones, Singapore gained independence from Malaya. It has been done before. Hong Kong wants to do the same, sovereign city-state. I realize that they do, but I wish them luck. I'll be honest with you. I would wish them luck. I hope that they could be able to do it. I think it would be very difficult for them to pull that off. Very, very difficult to pull that off. I would wish Hong Kong the best of luck with that type of situation if that's what they wanted, if they wanted that independence. But I think they're fighting an uphill battle, and I don't think it's one that they can win. But, you never say never, right, guys? I mean, people are very resilient, and if they have something in their mind that they want, they're going to make it happen. So I want to mention here, guys, real quick. And I said I wasn't going to be doing a sale, and I'm not doing the sale. It's Legacy's doing the sale, so I have to offer it on my website as well. They're doing for 8 days or while supplies last, because it's like if they end up selling out of these, they'll end the sale early, okay? The 183 mega sample bucket, it's normally $380. Right now it is on sale for $228, which is a 40% savings. So that's not a bad one to take advantage of, to be honest with you. I can never do a sale and offer 40% off. Can't do it. So, that's just letting you know. So when Legacy does that type of sale, that's a good thing. So I have to obviously offer that as well on my website. So if you are interested and you want to take advantage of that, please do so. Preppernurse1.com. Kick on the Legacy Foods. You'll see everything right there, and the price has already been reduced down. So it's a good savings. So if you've been thinking about it and you want to do it, it's a good time to pull the trigger on that deal. So just letting you know that is available, and that's going to go through the 8th. But they also said while supplies last. So I don't know how many buckets they have set up for that. But, if you want to take advantage of that, the sooner the better, just so you know. Let's see. I have a house in Hong Kong that was going to sell. Now the market is down. Peter Rouse just said that. Oh, I'm sure the market's down. It's probably very difficult to get, Federal Reserve has just been given a warning from Trump. That's interesting. Smitty just said that. But yeah, the market in Hong Kong, I could see why the real estate would not be. It'd be not a good time to try to sell anything over there. There's a lot of things going on, guys, over there that it's very, very on edge. And like I said, if China decides to stomp their boot down, it could be a real bad situation for the people of Hong Kong in a hurry. And like I said, and we need to stay right out of it. That's the reality, in my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion on that. Hong Kong is a big manufacturing center. China will not let that go easy. Right, exactly, Al Gibson. They're making a lot of money off of Hong Kong. And you're right, they're not going to let that go. I don't think that they will anyway. So, yeah, it's just, it is what it is. We just have to keep trying to press on and do what we can do, on our own. There's enough chaotic stuff happening here in the United States that we really, really need to take care of our own business. And because of the fact, because of the fact that we got so much crazy stuff happening here. I mean, you look at the political situation right now, it's insane. Okay. I mean, it is insane. And I don't see that getting any better. Leading up to the 2020 election, I do not see that getting any better, only worse. And if the president wins the re-election, you're going to see just people are going to lose their minds. So it's a scary situation. So, like I said, for me, I don't like politics. Never have liked politics. And I've told you guys this, and I'll tell you again right now. Republicans, Democrats, two different sides of the same coin, okay? Their interests are not our interests. They are not looking out for us ever. If they were, these politicians, when they would get into office, they would take care of the American people and focus on the American people, not on everybody else around the world. And, the tremendous amount of money that we give out all over the world all the time. And, while we're deeply in debt, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Okay. So we need to take care of our own. So since the government, who's supposed to be looking out for us, is not looking out for us, we really, truly need to look out for ourselves. I think, like I said, I think time is not long until something really, really bad happens. Trump will win and the liberals' hedge will truly explode this time. Kevin H. said, you know what, I honestly, and I said here, recently, because of everything that the Democrats have been doing for the last 3 years since Trump was elected, they've been trying to get him out since he was elected. Because of all of that, I think all they're doing is handing him another election. Because people are tired of it. They don't want, it's just, like I said, I don't have television. But I could not imagine having to turn the television on every single day and being inundated with nothing but garbage about Trump constantly. And, people are going to believe it because it's coming from the media, But you got to remember, guys, the media has an agenda, and that agenda is they're told what to do and they do what they're told. And so, it's not going to change. Watch the Trump prophecy of Kim Clement. Amazing. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. If Trump loses, millions of unhappy people. If he wins, millions of unhappy people. A no-win situation. You know what? That's probably the best statement you have with that right there. People are not going to be happy no matter what. And but like I said, that snake, which it is a snake in Washington. Washington itself is a snake. Okay, and I'm not putting it on any one person. The entire system of Washington, they're disgusting. Okay, there was just some senator. I think it was a senator or a congressman. And correct me if you know what I'm talking about. Hey, Ryan Jones, thank you very much for that donation. I appreciate that. They just had kiddie porn on their cell phone, and I can't remember if it was a congressman or if it was a senator. If you guys know the answer to that one, which one it was, nobody's telling me yet. Let's see. Oh God, I don't know. Nobody's saying. But anyway, there was some politician that recently just got busted with porn on their phone. So I'm just trying to see if anybody's telling me which one. But anyway, these people in Washington, like I said, they are not looking out for us. I don't care if they're Republican. I don't care if they're Democrat. I don't care if they're independent. They're watching out for the special interest groups that got them elected and the favors that they owe to people. That's who they're beholden to. So you guys need to think about that. They're not looking out for us. Oh, there we go. Senator Mike Fulmer. Okay. Thank you very much, Stephen. Or Stephanie Jones. Thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, because I knew, okay, so it was a senator. So, yeah, these people, I mean, they're vile. And they're taking money all the time. And I'm not going to say all of them. I think some people actually get in there with the best intentions. But when you're around that corruption, and you have career politicians, and we don't even have to name who they are because they're all over the place that have been in power forever and ever and ever. Those people, they're the reason that they're still in power after 30 and 40 years of being in Congress or in the Senate is because they're the most corrupt and they have all kinds of dirt on everybody. And so that's just Raccoon Eyes asked for a happy birthday. Oh, it was Raccoon Eyes' birthday? Well, happy birthday, Raccoon Eyes. I didn't see that go through, guys. I'm sorry. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm not always watching here to see what's going on. So Heidi12 said militias are activating. You know what? Wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. We need to be ready, guys. We need to be ready. And again, we don't want to react. We want to act when the time comes. And what do I mean by we want to act? Do we want to rise up and take over? No. I want to hunker down and I want to keep my people safe. That's my job. That's my goal. So, we prepare and, good question. I will bring that up in a second. Somebody asked, did I hear about the raccoon? And I'll address that in just a second. So, but no, we don't want to rise up, guys. We want to try to survive what's coming. That's the whole goal of prepping for living off grid is to survive whatever's going to happen. Hey, Ryan Jones, if there is a full military crackdown to quell the Hong Kong protests, do we have a moral obligation to do business with someone other than the CCP? You know what? That's a tough call. You know what I mean? That's got to be an individual basis type of call. Look at all the business that we do with China right now. We already know what China is. They're an absolute dictatorship, okay? Complete control of their people. If you step out of line, you're going to be blacklisted. So, and thank you for that donation too, by the way. But again, we do a tremendous amount of business with China all the time. Probably more than half the stuff in your homes, anybody's homes, is made in China. So think about that. I mean, if you tried to cut off all business that you did with China, there'd be a lot of products that you wouldn't be able to get. And that's the reality of it. So how do you donate through PayPal? Well, I have, Mark, I have a donate button on my website and also on my homepage. If you go to my YouTube page, you'll see a donate button on the main page. You click on that and you can donate that way on there. And in that way, YouTube doesn't get their 30% cut. So if you're interested in doing it that way, that's the way you can do it. So we're going to talk about the raccoon. So as you guys know, I recently dispatched a raccoon here on the homestead during the daylight hours, acting all foggy and crazy. And so I called the DEC, which is the animal control, part here in New York, left them a message, and I never heard anything back. I ended up getting rid of the raccoon 3 days later because it really started to stink. So, but I never heard a word from them at all. They never returned a phone call. Nothing. So we had, I had that raccoon here. My neighbor had a raccoon drop dead in his yard, and the other neighbor, there was a raccoon dead in their yard. So, I don't know what's going on, but I was very, very surprised, that I didn't hear anything back from them. So it was very, very shocking from that, to be honest with you. So, let's see. I know somebody just said the ex-Allied Darkness says I'm happy it's October. I love October. Like I said, fall is my absolute favorite time of the year. Absolutely love the fall. And it's just, my kids are born in October. So the twins will be 18 this month, which is amazing in itself. I can't believe it's been 18 years, to be honest with you. It has gone by very, very fast. And, but no, they're growing up to be nice young people, and they're doing well. Hey, Veterans Angel. Okay, folks, Ed mentioned at one time he wants to get 2 more batteries for the solar. I challenge everyone to kick in a few bucks. I'll start it off with 20. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. That's down the road, guys. When I can afford to do it, that I'm going to do the batteries then. But I appreciate you putting that challenge out to people. That's very nice of you. Let's see. Record heat today in Mobile, 80s the next week. Yeah, we're talking very, very cold here. We're talking let's see. I'm going to tell you the forecast here. What we're looking at here. Let's see. So today's high was 74, and I don't think it got to 74. Tonight's low is 47. Tomorrow's high is going to be 64 with a low of 44, and they're calling for rain again tomorrow. Friday's not any rain, but a high of 54. They say it's going to go down to 36 Friday night. Saturday, they're looking at 63 for the high. Saturday is 71 for the high. Monday is 60. And then we're in the 50s and the 60s. That's what we're looking at here, temperature-wise. And that's why, for me, it was like we had that stretch of nice warm weather. It was perfect to get the staining done and stuff like that, and it worked out really, really well. And again, that was awesome. With that for everybody again. And I know I've said it already before, but I'm going to say it again. Everybody that donated to help with the staining of the house, you have no idea how much I appreciate that. Hey, I keep doing your live streams and videos. I look forward to them each day. James, NASCAR fan, said that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will. I'm not going anywhere, guys. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I enjoy doing this. So, it's a lot of fun for me. I love sharing what we're doing here at the homestead and the progress that we're making. And, I've really focused this year on trying to get a lot more stuff done outside. So I will be honest with you, I neglected the shop, neglected the house. I started working on some stuff in the house, like when we did the inventory, going through all the canned goods and stuff like that. And so how can our government waste $3.64 trillion this year out of our tax dollars? Oh, they waste way more than that, I would imagine. They waste so much money, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous how much they. Oh, I did want to mention, too, I got two different people sent me this information. President Trump just signed a bill into law that's going to give $1.8 trillion, I think was the number. I think it was $1.8 trillion for adults with autism and stuff like that, and helping people with autism. And I'm not sure how that money's all being allocated because I haven't looked into it more yet. But obviously, as a father of an autistic child, I think that that's a great thing. We have way too many kids with autism. The resources are not there to to help them. Hey, Al Gibson. Harvested most of our garden today. We're looking at the 30s and the lows here in Colorado. Wow. Yeah, thank you again for that donation. I appreciate it. I know you guys, Wyoming just got hammered with a bunch of snow. So, but yeah, I know it's getting cold fast. The temperatures are definitely changing. I know the South, you guys in the South are still getting killed with the heat, but it's not up here. We had that one, like I said, we had that one day this week no, that was last week. Last week we had that one day where we hit 80 something, and other than that, it's been definitely cooler. Now I will say I have not started the fire yet, so I'm hoping. I mean, if it gets down into the 30s on Friday night, I probably will start a fire Friday night just to take the edge off in the house. But I have not had to start the fire yet, so I'm trying to hold off as long as I can with doing that. Had a frost here in western Maine already, Kevin H. just said. Okay. Yeah, now that doesn't surprise me. You guys are a lot farther north than we are. But yeah, so let's see. Idaho and Montana, 30 inches on the 1st of snowfall, and we got 6 inches of rain. I know you're in Ohio. I know you got, yeah. So, yeah, I know they got a tremendous amount of snow up there. The higher elevation said they got 4 feet up in the higher elevation. So 93 and humid in southeast Pennsylvania today. Wow. Well, it was not humid here. I can tell you that. I mean, we were sweating. I mean, when we were working in the shop today, we were definitely sweating, but very cool day, very comfortable for doing that type of stuff. So not bad at all. That's funny. Kevin Kenneth Davis just said 99 here today, but I think it's freezing in the low 70s. Well, we're, you know what, you got to understand something. We are used to that cold weather up here. So it's just, we got that, our blood is ready for that, I guess. And so, you know, this type of temperature, like in the 60s, it's comfortable. I mean, we're getting into the 40s, high 40s, low 50s at night. It's great sleeping. That's great sleeping weather. So 75 and I got my long johns on. JJ just said, that's funny. Yeah, no, I know. I've been down in Florida before. And when I graduated from nursing school, my first wife and I had gone down to Daytona Beach. And it was really funny because we got down there and it was like in the 50s. Well, we're coming from 30s up here in New York, and I'm walking around and I got a muscle shirt on. And we were on the ocean, and the lady says to me, "Oh my God, are you guys from the north?" And I go, "Yeah, how did you know?" She goes, "I'm walking around with a jacket on and you got a muscle shirt on." I go, "This feels awesome." So it's just funny stuff. It's just depending on where you're from in the country is how, you know, you get adjusted to a certain, our blood is thicker for the colder climate. Yeah, that's exactly what it is too. You get down south and you're down there for any length of time, you're going to definitely, your blood's going to thin out. Al Smith said, "I haven't closed my pool yet. Hot in the east today." Well, that's good. I know that my neighbors up, Greg and Chris, I asked them how many times they got to get in the pool this year, and I think they said 5. So they didn't get in the pool a lot this year. October is a month for colds. Oh, now I didn't know if you guys saw this or not. Talking about colds, really, really a big push for vaccinations this year for flu shots. Now they push it every year, but this year it's even more of a push than normal. They were talking about that at school with Heather, and they were like, "Oh, you know, yeah, you better go get your flu shot." And Heather's like, "I'm not getting my flu shot." So good for her. Kudos to my daughter for standing up and saying, "No, I'm not doing that." Unnecessary. Again, when you have something that has a 10% effectiveness rating, okay, and who knows what's all in it, you know, I don't want it. I'll never get it again. I will never get it again. So, yeah, the vaccine is for the wrong strains, exactly. And they're guessing anyway. They're absolutely guessing when it comes to that. So, they're trying to make everyone have the MMR vaccination here in New Zealand. I won't do it. You know what? And you shouldn't. If you don't want to do it, then I absolutely would not do it. I know they're pushing a lot of things. Well, I don't go to the doctors anyway. So, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I went to the doctors, to be honest with you. Oh, you got to rub it in, huh, JJ? Hey, Ed, them boys lost to the Saints. Yes, they did. You can't win them all. It's only one perfect team ever, and that was the 1972 Miami Dolphins. So, you know, you can't win them all, but you know what? Them boys are still in first place. So, hey, I've been a diehard fan, guys, my whole life, and it's never going to change. I love my Cowboys. So, guys, if you haven't shot me a thumbs up yet, if you would do that, I would appreciate it. I read where a guy went blind after a flu shot. Well, I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of really adverse reactions to the flu shots. I worked with people that every time they got the flu shot, they had an adverse reaction to it. They tried to opt out of it because of that, and they were like, "Well, if you don't get the flu shot, you got to wear a mask all the time." That's how they get you with the nursing field. So if you ever see anybody walking around, a nurse or a CNA, with a mask on for about 6 months is what they try to make you keep it on for. That's because they refuse to get the shot. Going to the doctors tomorrow for an ear infection that won't go away. Sherry just said that. Oh, that's no fun. I hope everything's fine and you can get some antibiotics for that and they can get that squared away for you. Ear infections are absolutely no fun. It'll throw off your equilibrium and everything. It's not a good time. Karen just said, allergic to eggs, can't take the flu shots, so I use elderberry syrup. It works. Yep, you know what? I actually have some of that. Somebody sent me that last year, and I know that really works. It would really, really. Actually, it was my friend Brian. His girlfriend gave me some of that last year, so that really did help. Let's see. Antibiotics won't work. Oh, wow, that's not good. Well, hopefully they can figure out what's going on with the Sherry. I hope you get it squared away. Let's see. Oh, Chris just said, Sherry, if you hadn't saw the comment, he said, fill an old sock with rice, heat it in a microwave, and put it on your ear. It'll help. So I'm sure if you're paying it, obviously you're watching. So try that. Take an old sock, put rice in it, heat it up in the microwave, and try that. How do you prep for traveling in the U.S. when flying? That's a tough one, Donald. I know, like last year, when I went and did that motorcycle tour last year, I flew. I had to fly out, so I couldn't take a lot of stuff with me. And I remember saying the whole time I was on that trip, man, I hope nothing happens while I'm on this trip. I said I would be so mad if I was gone and something happened, because then I got to try to work my way back home. It's really, really difficult to prep while you're flying, because what are you going to really take with you? There's some certain things that you can take. I would make sure you had like a Swiss Army knife in your carry-on luggage, something like that. Make sure you've got lighters, those type of things. Whenever you get to where you're going, just pick up a few supplies that are going to help you if something happens while you're while you're traveling. It's tough when you're flying. It is very, very difficult. So, because they're so restrictive on what you can even carry on the plane, it's really, really difficult to do that. Sticks fans just said, Ed, love the live chats. You do. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I enjoy it. I love the interaction with you guys. And I can't always get to everybody's comment, and I apologize for that. It's not like I'm trying to ignore anybody, but I try to get to as many people as I possibly can. But oh, that's very funny. Yeah, ha ha ha. Not even going to mention that comment because that was just stupid. Cannot bring knives on carry-on luggage. Oh, you can't? Okay, Gypsy Girl just said that. Well, that's tough. Smitty said YouTube should remove the thumbs down because it offends me. That's very funny. I like that. That's funny. Only on checked luggage. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't carry it on the plane. That's not what I was saying. I'm in your carry-on luggage, not carry on the plane, but stuff you're putting underneath. Because I know that when I went on my trip, I put my Swiss Army knife, a lighter, and a couple different things in my luggage, so I would have them in my luggage. Not that I carried on the plane, but underneath storage. That's what I did. Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine, Gypsy Girl. No, my mistake that I didn't clarify. No, carry-on is not. Yeah, carry-on for her was stuff you take on the plane. No, my mistake is not clarifying that. The luggage that you're checking, that's where you're going to put your Swiss Army knife or whatever other stuff that you're going to have. You put it in there, and it's going to be under in the plane that way. So that's the way you do it. So that's how I did it. So I had something, multi-tool. Exactly. Yeah, I could do a multi-tool. That RV Source just said that. Yeah, that's a great thing to have too. Multi-tool is a great tool to have because it can be used for so many different stuff. Tim Peck just said you can mail stuff to your destination. And yeah, exactly. Depending on how long you're going to be there, absolutely you can do that. Multi-tool has a blade. Yeah, but if you're putting it in the under, Kevin H., if you're putting that into the stuff that's going under the plane, you can do that. Swiss Army knife has a blade on it. So you just can't take that on your person onto the plane. You can put it in your luggage that goes underneath. You can do that. Yep, check luggage versus carry-on luggage. Yeah, so your check luggage, you could get away with a multi-tool Swiss Army knife in your checked luggage. 1 year till the real ID takes effect. Deborah Hiller just said that. Yep, I knew that was coming too. So we'll see how that goes when that whole time comes. So, Arizona, yep. This is the best stuff. I love this stuff. Green tea. Like I said, as soon as it really gets cold, I go from drinking green tea to hot tea. So, stop. Let's see what do we got here. What's the real ID do for, and how do we have to get it? Jason, if the real ID is a thing that they're wanting everybody to have, so you can't go into a federal building once that goes into effect if you don't have the real ID, and you can't fly if you don't have the real ID. How is the new four wheeler? DN just asked it. It's awesome. Absolutely love the new four wheeler. You know, we will be using it a lot more coming up here, so that you'll see it in use. I'm going to do some videos of me using it, so you're going to get a chance to see it in use. But yeah, it's really like it. You know, I've taken Eddie out on it. I've taken Heather out on it. I am going to teach Eddie how to drive it. We've been really just working on getting things done while we can here. And like I said, today it rained all day, so we started working in the shop today, and we made some headway, but we got a long way to go. There, we did 2 burns off the just stuff I was getting rid of out of the shop. So, but 4-wheeler road trip. There you go. I don't. Matt Smith says I don't have the real ID. I don't either. I have my regular license, but they're wanting everybody to go with the real ID. So if you fly a lot, you're going to have to probably get the real ID. If you are going in and out of government buildings a lot, you're going to need to get the real ID. They're forcing people to do it, is what they're doing. So they're restricting you on what you can do and what you can't do. Oh, passport is acceptable if you don't have the real ID. Stephanie Jones just said that. Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, I know. I actually I want to get my passport as well because I have friends up in Canada that I would like to go and visit. So, you know, I want to get. I used to go up to Canada all the time, absolutely all the time. I used to go when I was young. We'd go up to Niagara Falls constantly. Great time up there. Great time. Yep, a lot of people were saying about the passport. Okay. Gypsy Girls just said Canadian chocolate is also divine. I heard European chocolate's the best. So, what is Heather's YouTube channel? Okay, Heather's YouTube channel is Hang Out with Heather. No space in between anything. So it's HANG Out with Heather. That's her channel. And I think she's been posting about once a week. So I don't know if she posted this week or not. I have to ask her. But she's posting about once a week talking about college. I mean, she's very busy, obviously, with college, but she's trying to make that effort to post at least once a week. So, you know, she's just doing her thing and living life. She's met a boy, so you know she likes this kid. So that's okay. That's not a bad thing. What's going on in Hong Kong? You're late to the party. um, with Hong Kong right now, there's obviously issues with Hong Kong with the protesting and stuff like that. They've been told not to protest. More than 100,000 people went out on the streets and were protesting. They were clashing with the riot police. More than 24 police officers were injured, and they actually fired 6 live rounds into the crowd. One young man, 18-year-old, was hit in the chest. He did survive, but so that was the first real use of true resistance as far as the military or the police go. Again, like I've said before earlier in this chat, even I think they've shown a tremendous amount of restraint, allowing the people to protest. But I'm going to tell you what: if I was a cop and people are throwing bricks and and bottles and stuff at me, how long can you have that type of restraint realistically? I mean, before you retaliate. And from somebody else said that the young man was hitting the cop with a club, and that's when the cop shot him. So I guess it's on tape or it's on video. So that's why that person got shot. And in that situation, absolutely 100% justified. Nobody deserves to be assaulted. You know, if you want to protest, that's fine. Speak your piece, say what you got to say. But to do that type of thing is not, to attack somebody is not the answer. I don't believe. So Let's see. They will. Oh, Greg Downey said they will accept whatever is in effect for your state. Okay. Well, thank you, Sandy. I didn't see his comment, so thank you for saying that, Greg. Yeah, it's just it's going to be phased in. That's what they're going to do. They're going to basically phase it in. It's going to come to a point that if you want to do those, traveling, airplane and stuff like that. But now people said that a passport is good as well for right now. I think that they will eventually phase that all out and want people to have that real ID. It's just another way for them to track you guys. It's got a chip in it, and it's got all your information in that chip. So I wonder if the protesters are now the Antifa type and not the original protesters. When you have, you know what? I'm sure there's an element of them in there, and I kind of mentioned that earlier in the talk when I was talking about the fact that if you have a crowd of 100,000 people, and if you only have 100 that are that Antifa type of people that are looking to cause chaos and damage and stuff, they can get a crowd worked up if they're positioned and stuff. There's ways to get people going, and you get that crowd mentality, and people get caught up in that. It's not a good situation. Not a good situation at all. CIA are in Hong Kong making more trouble. Peter Rouse just said that. Wouldn't shock me, to be honest with you. Trying to do stuff on the sidelines, trying to pump money into the anti-government cause because, obviously, they would like to see China be free. So Corey Fish just said the Dow dropped 500 points today. And we talked a little bit about that, Corey, talking about, there's definitely an issue with the banking system that, there is a financial crisis going on right now. So my advice to you guys, all you guys, is just prep as much as you possibly can. But just be as ready as you possibly can be. That would be my advice to anybody. You never know. Well, guys, we never know what's going to happen. The protesters are more violent like Antifa, unlike the original protesters. They're getting pissed off. I mean, they've been protesting over there for about, 4 months now. And so, it's just, it's a very, very bad situation. And like I said, and I said it earlier in the chat, I think China has shown unremarkable restraint up to this point. But they're only going to take so much. And then when China puts its boot down, that's going to be the end of the protest. I'm telling you right now, because even a city of 8 million, or 8 million people, or an island of 8 million people, they could lock that down if they want to. Put up roadblocks, checkpoints. They could lock that city down, and if they had to bring in more troops to do it, they absolutely would. So, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. But like I said, as far as again, all of us should continue to get ready. Be as ready as you possibly can be, because when that shoe drops, guys, it's going to take us all by surprise. It really, truly is. Hey, Ryan Jones, water, one of the hardest to prep recommendations. Okay. And then Buddy Goodman, thank you very much for that donation. And Ryan, thank you for that donation as well. The best way to prep for water, if you want to prep for water and kind of do it all in one shot, if you can get a 50-gallon barrel, the plastic barrels that are made for storing water, get one of those, or a couple of them, probably, depending on how many people you're storing water for. That would be the way to store water. The gallon jugs are not a good way to do it. So absolutely not a good way to do it with the gallon jugs, because they're going to leak. They don't last well. But you get that 55-gallon barrel drum. Those are really good to use for that right there. Also, make sure if you're prepping for water, have your filtration devices. Have the different things that you can do to purify that water. It's very, very important. Okay, so definitely, do it that way as well. All right, guys, we're getting, man, I can't believe that this hour always goes by so fast. What model do I have? Okay, I have the Big Berkey. water filtration system. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, I absolutely highly recommend it. I have no affiliation with Berkey at all, but I highly recommend that product. It is a fantastic product. Get the bigger one. I think mine is like a 6-gallon one. Do you think the Federal Reserve is going to need to be gone? Bunny Goodman, you know what? The whole reserve banking system is a whole big shell game. And if we ever want to get our country to being good again or great again, I think that it does need to be gone. There's a whole lot of stuff going on with that. Whole lot of stuff. We could do a whole topic on the banking reserve, but they probably most likely would demonetize it if I did that video, because it would not be favorable. It would not be a favorable talk. But yeah, I think it would be better if it was not in existence, to be honest with you. The small town banks of old, you know, that they actually worked with their neighbors and helped their neighbors, those are a thing of the past, realistically. You got your credit unions are pretty decent still, but it's still very, very difficult. But yeah, so that's 275-gallon totes are going for about $45. Oh, there you go. There's another thing too. Those big totes. That's a good way to store water as well. If you get those, I would definitely, if you're going to keep it outside, spray paint it black, so that you're not going to get the sunlight going through that, and that water would turn into algae and be nasty really, really quickly. Okay, so what I would suggest, like I said, if you're going to buy that 275-gallon tote, those things are huge. They're awesome to have. If you got the room to store those, you got a couple of those, you're talking a couple, 500 gallons of water. So really good to have those as well. But again, it really depends where you're at, how much room you have, and what you can do. I have outside of the house, as you guys know, I have a 550-gallon storage tank. Okay, I picked that up at Tractor Supply. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it. I think it was, at the time, it was like maybe $400, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember exactly. But if you went back to my old videos, it's probably on there when I bought that tank. I probably said exactly how much it was when I did that, that video. But that is a really good thing to have. We use it as a rain catchment, and then we use that for, watering the garden and stuff like that. And now somebody asked me, no, I'm probably not going till 9:30. No, I got some other stuff that I got to take care of tonight. But one of the things with that water tank, somebody asked me, does that freeze? Freezes every winter. Has not cracked or broken. It's a great tank to have, but it freezes solid. It's like a big solid ice block in there in the wintertime. So it does freeze every single winter. Now, they have stuff that you can put in there so that it doesn't freeze, but you'd have to run that 24 hours a day, and that's going to take a lot of juice. And, I'm not going to run the batteries off of that. And we don't really use it except for, it's a backup tank. Okay, so it's 550 gallons. And if I needed to use that to survive, absolutely, I would use it in a heartbeat. I would filter the crap out of the water first before I even put it in my Berkey. So I would filter it first through, a T-shirt, something. First, then I would pour it into the Berkey so that it wouldn't have any kind of particles and stuff in it that way. That's what I would do. Yeah, the one he uses for rainwater, he's painted black. The 4 in the garage are not painted. Yeah, if they're not in the sunlight, if you don't have them in the sunlight, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to tell you what, my storage tank that we got 5 years ago, basically, is when we got it. I think it was about 5 years ago. I bought spray paint cans, and I think I got them for like $1 a piece. So I bought a whole bunch because I thought I was going to take a whole bunch to spray that. I think it took about 3 or 4 to spray paint that whole tank. Okay. And then I had people telling me, oh, that's going to peel right off right away. And I remember at the time saying, I don't care if it does or not, because it's only $1 for another can of spray paint to do it. I have not had to touch it up yet. There's a couple of spots that I probably should touch up, that I probably will touch up this year, but a couple of spots, that's it. It's held up so well, it's absolutely ridiculous. So somebody just turned on the pump. You heard it above me here. So, but let's see. I have a 75-year-old well under my house that is not going to be used, tapped into the city water until it's needed. There you go. Donald just said that. Yeah, I mean, my well that I have here, I don't even know how old that well is, to be honest with you. When we pulled out it had a Gould's pump in it, and that pump, the plumber told me that pump was from 1974. So I know that well's been there for a long time. And, my well's 130 feet deep, I believe it is. It's 130 feet. And so, but it's an artesian well. So if you take the cap off of my well, you can look down and there's water, like not even a foot down. So in an SHTF situation, I can still access water all the time right from that there, and wouldn't have to worry about trying to pump it out. But so it works out really, really well. And then we have the storage tank for water as well, and that never freezes. The storage tank, as cold as it has been, we've had it where the air temperature was 14, 15 below zero. We've never had an issue at all with that freezing. It's never frozen. So, somebody was not being family friendly. Please, guys, keep the chat clean. Okay, I don't want to have to block anybody. So anyway, at this point, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about what we normally do at this point. We are Legion, guys. We are family. We're this huge group of people, okay? Preppers, off-gridders. We are the ones that can make a big difference when that time comes. So where's everybody from tonight? Just tell me where you're from, and let's see, Western Massachusetts, BC, Canada, Sodus, Michigan, Ohio, Montreal, Canada, Quebec, Oklahoma, Illinois, New Zealand, Indiana, BC, Canada, West Virginia, Olympia and Washington State, Long Island, Minnesota, Michigan, Nashville, Tennessee, Mesa, Arizona, Alabama, Oregon, North Carolina, Texas, New York City, Long Island, New York, Connecticut, Indiana, Nashville, Tennessee, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Westbrook, Maine, another North Carolina, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, Southern Arizona, Chicagoland, California, another California, Oxford, Maine, New Orleans, Nashville, Tennessee, Maine, California, Minnesota. We got Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, California, Texas, Victoria, Texas, California, again. We got New Zealand, Puerto Rico, very cool. Let's see, we got Jacksonville, Florida, Southern Oregon, very nice. Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, very cool. Brooklyn, New York City, Pennsylvania, Canada, Northeastern Texas, Fort Payne, Alabama, Montana, Perkins, Ohio, Florida again, Missouri. So we're all over the place, okay? We are this huge family. We are the people that are awake. We're the ones that truly can make a difference when that time comes. If it is a natural disaster that happens and we can help our brothers and sisters on this planet, I think it's important that we try to do that. I really, truly do. That's my own opinion. Again, you can do whatever you want to do as far as that goes. I will try to help out my neighbors when the time comes if I can. And I think that's important to try to do it if you can do it. But again, you got to go with your gut feeling. And if you think somebody's going to be doing something that is going to try to hurt you, then obviously you're not going to help that type of people. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the chat right now. Thank you all for being here. If you haven't shot me that thumbs up yet, if you would do that, that would be absolutely awesome. I think we're at 257. So, yeah, if you give me that last minute thumbs up, that would be great. Remember, guys, we are all in this together. That's important to remember. I think a lot of people lose sight of that. You know, everybody's so focused on their own individual stuff that they lose sight of it, that we are truly in this together. Remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. Also, remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. And the reason that I like STD so much is because when I say STD, people go, what, STD? Because it has a certain connotation, right? But we've changed it to a really good, positive statement. So work at things methodically. Things get done. Continue prepping. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Without hope, guys, without dreams, we have nothing, okay? So just stay positive. Stay away from that negativity. All right, guys, I hope everybody's having a great day. I will see you all tomorrow. I will see you all in a live chat on Friday. So stay positive, and I will see you all later. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.